should be like you, Mel?
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Up the Cherries in all departments. And of course, it's 8 o'clock, it's Cherry AM, and it's Friday. So I'm sure everyone's relieved that we got through another week. Well, one more day, and then it's the weekend. So as always, Ollie's with me. Well, not with me because it's normally Craig, but it's me today. But Ollie, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not bad. Thanks, Matt. Nice to see you. How's your week been?
Not bad, buddy. Yeah, it's all good. Good. Glad that we're here. Friday and lots to discuss, but there's a few people in the chat already, so let's just say good morning to everybody before we get cracking. Dan Short in the chat, good morning to you. Great that you've joined us. As always, Malcolm, coffee is made, let the show begin. Obviously a couple of minutes late, that's my fault, but not as punctual as Mr. Beasley. Nick Gillins, good morning to you listening on the school run. Great to have you with us. Of course, another regular here as well is Paul in Oz. How you doing, buddy? It's great to see you. I think it's about 5 p.m. in Oz, if memory serves me right. Malcolm saying good morning to everybody in the chat and saying hi to both myself and Ollie. But yeah, it's great to have everybody watching. Please do get involved. Obviously, as we're discussing topics, as always, please pop your comments in and we'll show all of them on the screen. So let's get started then. The under-21s European Championship started for England last night. We had a very good 3-1 win against the Czech Republic. And of course, the Cherries connection there is, of course, Alex Scott, who is representing England, who played in the midfield last night. He actually created an assist for the third goal from one of his curling corners. His deliveries were pretty good last night, and he completely, in my opinion, between him and Elliott Anderson, controlled the England midfield last night. So a good, promising start for England. Obviously, they won the tournament last time, didn't they? With some big names now who have gone on to make their senior debuts and appearances for England. So it looks like it's.
I was actually going to ask you about that, Matt. Do you think, given last night's result and effort, they're going to do a similar compared to the last tournament? Excuse me.
Yeah, I think Lee Carsley has said to prepare for a slow start and for them to find their rhythm. But last night they looked extremely. It looks extremely promising that they're going to definitely go far in this tournament. Can they win it again? Yeah, I think they can from what I saw last night. Obviously, we know what tournament football's like. We know what tournament football for England can historically be like. But yeah, from what I saw last night, they got a great forward line. Like I say, in terms of the midfield, Elliott Anderson is a quality player. Has been playing really well for Forest this season. Alex Scott, he's been unlucky for us this season with injuries. And possibly game time as well, to be fair. But he's a midfielder I rate really, really highly, and I think he's going to be quite key for this England side. Defensively, they look sound as well. So they're definitely going to go far, and I do think they can win it. Definitely, I think they're one of the better sides in the tournament.
Does that cause a concern in your mind for other teams, maybe poaching Alex Scott after a tenure at the England under-21s? Is that a concern for you?
Well, I mean, I think all our players, is a concern at the minute, isn't it, when you see all the stuff going around? I think. See, the thing is with Alex Scott, he's also very, very versatile. He can play in a deep role. He can play in a more forward role. He's definitely someone I want to see more in the Bournemouth side, and definitely don't want to lose. Is he putting himself in the shop window? Of course he is. There's another player that's also playing with him at the minute, Harvey Elliott, who's putting himself in the shop window, which we'll discuss a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But of course he's putting himself out there, isn't he? Let's hope he's not another one that starts getting linked to other clubs. But anything's possible, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think if anything, I think it's a good thing because it doesn't necessarily mean that because he starts getting offers, he'll jump ship, right? But what it does mean is it'll give him a real big boost of confidence if he starts performing really well in under-21s. And hopefully all that'll do is bring that energy and that momentum back to him playing at Bournemouth. So it's a good thing, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And if any of you guys watched the game last night, obviously pop in the comments what you thought of the game. What did you think of Alex Scott's performance? Like I said, I thought he played very well last night, and his delivery from set pieces were pretty decent. Apart from his first one, I think in about the 8th minute, I don't think they kind of understood what was going to happen because he curled a ball right in towards the back post, and no one was anywhere near it. So, but other than that, most of his deliveries last night were pretty good from set pieces. But if you watch the game, please drop in the comments your thoughts. Let's a couple of comments just come through just before we move on. Dan Shaw, any incoming transfer rumours or outgoings? Right, Ollie is going to cover that. So do stay tuned. We're just about to cover that off. So, we will be speaking about that, Dan. Malcolm, they are welcome to ask, but don't think Bill will let them go. Yeah, totally agree. We know what this time of year is like, Malcolm, with rumours and God knows what else that's going on. And Dan, totally agree. Part of the back line last night, I thought he played very well as well. I think it's a very promising one again for England. And I think as well, just before we move on, Lee Carsley, he obviously had that spell as interim manager for the senior squad. I think he's quite an underrated manager as well. Maybe maybe some people may disagree with me there, but I think if he was to win this tournament again, I think he's going to become quite a sought after manager. I rate quite highly. I think it's going to be definitely an interesting tournament. It's also excellent to see that it's all being broadcast on Channel 4 as well. So it's great to see that the under-21s is for the whole tournament is being, to my knowledge, is being shown on there. So that's also excellent, especially with this drought of football that we're suddenly going through. But Ollie, let's move on and discuss transfers. Obviously, on Tuesday, you said that you were going to give us a bit more of an update on how rumours have materialised and what's happened since Tuesday. So, where are we starting? Who are we starting with?
Yeah, so thanks, Matt. I thought it would just be sensible, it's probably the better word to use, to give a bit of an overview every Friday with all the speculation that goes on midweek. And as you said, the drought of football at the moment, it's a tough time. Morning, Chris. It's a tough time for everyone, right, with lack of football. So I think on a Friday it'd be good to kind of give an overview of some of the transfers, ins and outs that we've discussed in midweek. So one that we haven't discussed, which you did just mention kindly, was Harvey Elliott. Now, Bournemouth are reportedly over the last couple of days really looking for a creative midfielder, and obviously with Harvey Elliott's limited playing time at Liverpool, I think that they're under the impression they want to get him out, whether that be on loan or selling him. But Bournemouth are are well within the scopes for him anyway. He is quite pricey for what we're looking at, anywhere between 40 and 50 mil. But considering the revenue that we've just brought in and the return on investment that we've had from previous season, there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be investing in a player like that. As a creative midfielder, I think he'd be a sublime addition to the team at this stage. I'm not sure what your opinion on that is.
Interesting. I like the player. I think he's a quality player. He's definitely a player that's come to that point in his career where being a fringe player, even though winning the league and everything like that, it's all about minutes now, I think, for him. I'm trying to work out if he was to come into the squad in its current form, where does he fit? That's what I like the player. I think he's a talented player. He definitely needs to be playing regular football. I'm just at the minute trying to work out where does he fit.
Yeah, agreed. And I think at the moment it would be a bit of a mismatch trying to plonk him in the team, but I don't think we'll have that issue once this recruitment phase has been over and done with and the summer is out the way. I think positions like that may free up a little bit for us. We may start to see a couple of things open up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to address Dan's questions there.
Yeah, I mean, this one here from Dan, could we not use that as a swap deal for Kerkez? Quite possibly. I mean, obviously it would be Kerkez plus still a substantial fee, I think, in my opinion. So yeah, it's a potential, deal maker, possibly. It could be something that Liverpool dangle there as a carrot for us to kind of take, quite possibly. But yeah, there's also a comment from Malcolm, which again is the same.
Similar.
But yeah, I mean, both Malcolm and Dan there have got a very, very good point, and I'm sure during negotiations, because I think it is inevitable that at some point those negotiations are happening.
And touching on that slightly, we have secured a deal in principle for Adrian Trafford.
Yes.
Now, that is only going through. There is the only non-negotiable here is that Kerkez goes to Liverpool.
Yes.
So as long as Kerkez goes to Liverpool, Adrian Trafford comes in at, I think, 10.4 with a possible increase to 14.3, something like that. However, I think Liverpool would be making a ridiculous move not to push for Kerkez right now. I think they'd be missing out. If they weren't to get Kerkez right now, I think they'd be making a really silly move, in my opinion.
Yeah, obviously, we don't want to see the player of Kerkez's quality.
Of course, no.
But you're right. And I've said, I know quite a few Liverpool fans, and a lot of them have said to me about Kerkez throughout the whole season, because it's been rumoured for a long time, hasn't it? And like I've said to them, I hate to say it, but you can just see him fitting in and being an asset. I absolutely hate to say it. We want to keep him, but you're right. I think it's from Liverpool's perspective, it's the right time. Isn't it?
And unfortunately for us, whether we like it or not, players like Dean and Kerkez they're world-class players. They're world-class players, and places like Bournemouth are unfortunately just a showcase and a stop-off for them, and happy to be so. From my point of view, really happy to have been that accommodator and that platform to go, look how good this player is, take them to the next stage in their career, But I understand what you're saying. It's tough, right? It's really difficult to watch and bring them in and nurture them and celebrate with them and win with them, and then go, there you go, happy for you. It's a tough thing to do.
It's all parcel of the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's I mean, what a club though to come to really put yourself in the shop. I mean, look at Dino. Dino was completely honest and said my plan was to stay at Bournemouth for 2 years. He saw the club as the perfect opportunity to be that stepping stone. And the thing for me as well, I mean, the recruitment at the club has been excellent over the last, few years, and we have got to trust in the recruitment process. And obviously, we've already agreed the deal in principle, and everything is rating in this sort of chain to all just sort of like happen. So already, there is a replacement to come in who looks quality from what I've seen. I have Googled and YouTubed and a few things and looked him up, and yeah, he's also won a medal internationally as well, hasn't he? I think.
Has indeed.
So,
Has indeed.
Yeah, I'm
So,
excited about the future as well as being sad to lose.
yeah, mixed emotions.
Yes,
Mid-season, right? Pre-season, mixed emotions. So,
definitely.
but look, the recruitment excitement does continue. So, although Kepa at the moment is up in the air, we do have talks of the other keeper, Dordi Petrovic.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dordi Petrovic, Serbian goalkeeper, anywhere in the range of 18 to 20 million. That again, I think is very similar to Kepa, right? It's an exciting keeper, plays out from the back, can really diversify how he throws the ball. Cat-like reflexes sometimes in some games. There's definitely games that you could call upon where he's been fantastic in the past. So I think that's an exciting one from our keeper. And then I wanted to touch on two other players, which did get me excited, and it was for essentially a double deal, which has been spoken about very quietly in the last 2 days, and it's from Juventus. Now, one of the players was in the news quite a lot in April to be coming over to us, and that's Samuel Bangula, a defender at Juve. Now, the double deal is including now Nicolas Savona. So, two defenders, two established defenders, both been at Juve, I believe, for 2+ years, in a double deal that could be worth about 55 million. And I don't know about you, but even speculation around that is incredibly exciting. Like if you think of the Deans and the Kerkezes, right, and you see and you think the world has now seen Bournemouth as this little stepping stone in the Premier League, this platform to be highlighted. Why wouldn't players wanting to get to the big teams in the Premier League come over to Bournemouth? So it's exciting. Yeah, really, really exciting time. And especially if those two aren't just speculation.
Yeah, those two materialise. That's two exciting names to be linked with. And like you say, with what's happened with the likes of Dino and, Kerkez, players are going to be attracted to come here as well. I mean, just look at the training facilities and, plans for the stadium, this, that, and the other. It's exciting time to be involved in the club. Just a couple of quick ones in the chat. He's not worth more than Kerkez, Paul from Oz. Yeah, I would say so. Definitely, I personally agree with that. He's not. He may be in the future, but that's why I was kind of saying if there is a deal there with some movement with possibly him, with Harvey Elliott, then obviously it would still be quite a substantial plus cash deal. I don't think it'd just be a like-for-like swap. That would just be madness. Malcolm, Paul from Oz, he has the chance to show and improve under Andoni. Yeah, he does. He does. I think if he comes in and plays under someone like Iriola, he will. It will do a lot for his game, I think.
Game time. You're spot on. That's exactly what I was going to say. The more you allow someone to become confident on the pitch and develop their game time, you've got no idea what kind of person you could unlock, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Could be any kind of player.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if I was someone like Harvey Elliott or any of these young players that are linked to the club, I'd be looking at the manager thinking and looking at how Bournemouth played last season, the high press, the high intensity, and I'd be thinking to myself, that's an exciting team to be involved in. So yeah, I totally agree, Malcolm. If a player like him came in, it would definitely advance his game. Dan Short, what is he? Are they a centre back? Okay, so Ollie, can you just elaborate on? I think that's the two players from Juventus. Their playing positions.
Yes, yeah. So Bangula is a centre back and Savona is a right back, I believe. He can also be pushed into a winger position as well. But yeah, Bangula, yeah, but a much bigger player than some of the other defenders that we've got. That will go much further into detail with those two players next week. I believe there's a press conference on Tuesday, which will give us a bit more information. So
Okay.
that is the what we've got at the moment is real minor information about that speculation. So yeah, by all means, go away and do research, have a look at how they've played, have a look at match stats. But for now, as it's only speculation, we won't be deep diving into them.
Yes, no, definitely, and obviously keep an eye on developments, and as things develop,
Yeah.
we discuss.
If there's no more other comments, there's just one more player I wanted to clear up.
Yeah.
Perfect, and that is Zaba.
Yeah.
And I know that there was a couple of things you wanted to bring up on him as well, but at the moment, just to clarify for everyone, he has not gone to PSG. It does not look like he will be at the moment. It seems like our asking price, which was pushed up from 45 to I think 59, isn't going to be paid by PSG. So they state that they're not going to overpay. Fair enough. Luckily for us, we're not going to undersell. So for now, it doesn't look like Zaba's going anywhere. Just to confirm any speculations of ins and outs.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And that's some positive news anyway. On Zaba, who we all know, from watching him week in, week out, he is a world-class striker, defender. There was actually something in the week that we were just touching about off air. I mean, it was an article in the Echo about how one of his fellow, I think it's one of his fellow players that he plays with internationally, has actually described him as one of the best Ukrainian defenders in history. So for a player of his age to already be kind of spoken about as highly as that from a fellow player, obviously does say the amount of quality that he has. And yeah, we're obviously kind of happy that the talks on that is, well, there's still talks a little bit about it, isn't there? But at least he is still a Bournemouth player. And I think PSG, I read one article where they said that they wouldn't obviously pay, I think, the 60 million that Bournemouth want, but I think the player's worth that all day. Still got his time to go into. He's this good now at this age. How is he going to, how good is he going to be in 5 years' time? And that's kind of what, for me, the valuation's all about is the player that you're getting and how the player is going to develop. He's going to become one of the best defenders in the world, isn't he?
100%.
Personally, I think totally. Dino, again, we know what he's all about, and it's going to be great to watch him. Unfortunately, it's going to be great to watch him at the World Club. Is it the World Club Cup? I think it starts this weekend.
But whichever tournament it is this time,
whichever one of them. And I know you touched on it earlier on in the week, and so it's just great that at the moment we're keeping hold of him, and it's like I've always said, it's the club isn't a selling club. It's a totally different club now to what it was 15, 20 years ago. Completely different. And really for me, it's now about if the player wants to go rather than the club needing to sell. The club's not in a position to where they want to sell unless they deem that player surplus to requirements. So I think a lot of it's down to the players now, isn't it, that they will kind of more force the move than the actual club itself.
Absolutely. And that almost comes a little bit back down to the discussion around a Kerkez and Harvey Elliott deal, right? Kerkez wants to go and spread his rings. It would only maybe cause distaste or bitterness if we held him back from doing certain things. Same with Harvey Elliott. It might be the same amount of money that's exchanged hands, but the difference in where they want to be and what they want to do matters to them as a player, and that ultimately matters to the season moving forward, right? So I think money comes down as like a third or fourth priority in my mind sometimes when considering these deals, and there's a lot of other things that come into that to make the player happy.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on there. And also, if you look at it from another angle as well, if you've got young, talented players like the names we've been linked with that are going to come into the club, and we're seen to be stopping progression, it will also possibly have an effect the other way.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, like I say, trust the process, trust the recruitment. The players' names that are being bashed about that we are linked with are extremely exciting. So, even though it's sad to lose one, the future looks very bright with the incomings. So, Paul, clever move from Bournemouth regarding Zaba. I think Kerkez is underpriced, just an opinion. Yeah,
I
I
agree.
mean, what's the 40 million, isn't it?
Yeah,
Which,
well, I mean, it was 45, but we would have gone down to 40 for Liverpool, apparently. So,
yeah, you see, I think, yeah, even with, Elliot Harvey, Harvey Elliott, Harvey Elliott, for me, I would still want 40 million at least. Which,
yeah, I think
way.
Kerkez should be similar to Zaba. I think
Yeah,
there's definitely a 55 price range there for me plus, but you
yeah,
know.
yeah, I would say 50 million plus for Kerkez. Yeah, I think 45 million is
Well,
underpriced.
it definitely shouldn't be getting overlooked. It definitely shouldn't be getting considered. If I was in Liverpool shoes right now, I'd be going 40 million. I'll take that immediately. That's not something that we start to negotiate around, right? But never mind. Maybe they have different views and plans for the squad build moving forward.
Yes, no, definitely. And we're also just going to touch on the documentary that's come out this
Yes,
week, Ollie.
absolutely.
I've
Yeah.
watched the first part. Um,
What did you think, mate?
I thought it was very interesting, obviously, and I'm now looking very forward to the documentary expanding. Obviously, we've got the second instalment coming out today, I think, isn't it? If I remember,
Today at 4 o'clock. That's
at
correct.
4 o'clock. So yeah, it's been a good insight. I thought the under-16s captain spoke very well. For a young lad,
Yeah.
it was a great insight. It was a great insight, and I'm really looking forward to the because as each episode goes on, obviously the documentary is obviously going to expand. It's going to learn
Hmm.
more. So yeah, I think it's a great start. It's been filmed and produced very, very well. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. I think it's one of those that once they've all come out, that I kind of sit there and watch them back to back as
Yeah.
if it's one long
Yeah.
documentary
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, I've been very impressed with it. I think it's really good insight, and you can really see how the club is striving towards that Category A status. Obviously, the head the academy manager, he spoke about how they have to add to the staff and this, that, and the other. And yeah, I think it's been a good start.
Yeah. Yeah. Thoroughly agree. I think all it does is back up us as Bournemouth fans and our dream that's forever been right. It's full of optimism. It's always been optimism and community, and that is the only thing that documentary screams about is optimism and community. There's a sentence in it. I can't remember who says it. I think it might be Simon Francis, and he basically says that the whole point of this Category 1 is in 5 years' time to have built our first team captain. That's what we
Yes,
want to come out. And
yes,
I thought, crikey, what a goal to almost dismiss the skill and talent of everything that you've already currently got, right? And put so much faith and optimism in this academy that you're building out from scratch, right? To know that you're going to have an on the field first team captain in 5 years. That is a huge goal,
yeah,
huge goal.
yes,
And I just think all that just screams Bournemouth. That just screams AFC Bournemouth. Is a goal like that and a plan like that is just a bit of us, right? It's so optimistic and so out there that we'll probably achieve it.
yeah,
And it's fascinating and it's really exciting.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's it's great. It's great to see how I mean, there's on the channel. There's an interview I did probably a couple of summers ago with Joe Roach, and it was a fantastic interview. And he talks a lot about the youth system when he started. And so if you go back and you watch some of that, it really, and where we are now, you can really see the dramatic changes. And I think the other important thing is as well is that the youth system also develops players that potentially may not have a career at Bournemouth, but will have a career in the game somewhere, and may even produce some revenue for the club. We might have some players that we sell on to maybe League One or League Two clubs. It's about generating players for the professional game at some level as well, and making a bit of money on the back of that. Quite possibly. A couple of comments. There we go. Couple of comments. Paul and Oz, they won't find another Kerkez. Yeah, I think Kerkez is one of those players that will always stick in your mind as, how can I describe it? He is unique. I think he's a unique player. He's fantastic in the tackle, great at going forward. He's a real world class. Well, I'm going to say another world class player. I don't think I can sing Kerkez's praises any more than what I have done. Here we go. We've got think local employee. What? Right. Okay.
That's great.
I know who this. I am on the work account. Thought it would be easier to watch on here than open new windows. And he's just chatting here about the Joe Roach interview. And it is. It's weird. We've done some interviews on the channel. With former players, and we've done quite a few over the last couple of years. But Joe Roach is one of those ones that does stick out in my mind. It was a really good, interesting chat. So if you haven't watched it, do please check it out. Check out all the interviews. There's a lot of interesting interviews on the channel. But anyway, it's been great to have everybody watching and involved in the chat. That's the end of another week, Ollie. We've come to Friday once again, and that's the end of Cherry AM for this week. But obviously, we'll be back next week.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So back Monday with yourself, I believe. This is my second full week at Cherry AM, so it's actually flown by doing this in the morning. So it's fantastic. I really appreciate the support from everyone watching early in the mornings, and everyone watching at 8 a.m. is fantastic. Getting some back and forth with the guys commenting. So really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you all on Monday.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's been a great week of topics. Yourself and Craig done excellent with this. I think it's been a great watch over the week. Obviously, I can't catch it live every day, but the bits I do catch, and then I replay later on. It's been an interesting week of topics, and we'll have another interesting week of topics to bring you all next week. Mr. Beasley. Yeah, of course. Just before we go, obviously, Mr. Frank has become Spurs manager, and he wants Semenyo. I think Semenyo's been linked to Spurs and God knows who else for quite a while anyway, hasn't he?
And United a little bit as well, but I don't think it'll happen. Yeah.
Cheers, Paul. Yeah, your support's great, and do stay peeled to the channel. Myself and Paul will be doing a show shortly over the coming weeks about a certain season at Bournemouth. So do stay tuned. That's all being prepped currently. And Mr. Beasley is saying to have a good one to Malcolm. But that brings us to a close, guys. From myself and Ollie, thank you for joining us. Obviously from Craig as well, thank you for joining us throughout the week. We'll be back next week. Until the next one, up the cherries.
Up the cherries.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.